friends, welcome back to our channel. My name is Emily and this is Grace. She's 10 months old. Today we're going to be talking about supporting all of those new mama friends that might be in your life. And whether you are ready to hit the unfollow button in mental preparation for the slew of baby photos about to come your way, or you are perusing the baby clothes aisle at Target and texting your friend baby name ideas, wherever you're at on that spectrum, I know that we all recognize that becoming a new mom is a really big challenge and we all want to help in some way. We don't always know how. I've been on both sides of the spectrum. I've been the kidless friend who wants to help but doesn't quite know how. And I've been the really overwhelmed new mom who really needs help and wants to ask for it, but again, isn't quite sure how. I'm hoping that this video can help be a little bit of a guide. Maybe you're a new mom and you can send this to your friends in kind of a tactful way, or maybe you're a friend looking for ways that you can support without coming across as too overbearing or doing the wrong thing. Becoming a new mom is one of the most physically excruciating, mentally overwhelming, and emotionally exhausting things to happen in your life. You have never needed help more in your life, but you don't know how to ask for it. Sometimes you're too tired to ask for it. Sometimes you don't even know what it is that you need. You just know that you're not okay and you need some help. And then in the middle of all of this, you have an onslaught of texts from the most well-meaning friends and family asking, how can I help? Or when can I come meet the baby? Or even worse, you have friends who just go silent and it confirms one of your worst fears, which is that having a baby is going to make you completely irrelevant to all of the people in your life who don't have kids. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. So you're telling me not to text too much, but also to remember to text. What exactly do you want me to do? I know. And that's what we're going to go over in this video. All the ways you can make your new mama friends feel loved and supported and encouraged in the way that you would want to someday. When I was talking to some of my mom friends about this video, one of them summed this up in the most poignant way. She said the people who were helpful were the ones who were really concerned about helping me and my husband's actual needs. And the ones who were less helpful were the ones who were just excited about meeting the baby. And I think this is really similar to how a lot of moms feel and to some of the advice that I'm going to give today. If I could sum up what I'm going to say in this video in one line, it would be help your friend to not feel alone by making things about her rather than just about the baby, and make it really easy for her to accept help. One of the best ways to kick this off is to start by having a conversation about support before the baby ever comes. Say something like, hey, we would love to support and come alongside you guys when baby arrives, so we were thinking of setting up a meal train. What are some of your food preferences and favorite restaurants? Our friends actually brought this up at our baby shower, which I thought was great timing, and the look of excitement on all of their faces when they were talking about all of the ways they wanted to come alongside us made us feel from the get-go like we weren't alone and like they were actually really excited to help, which made it a lot easier to ask for that help down the line. Once the babies actually arrived, remember that it's really, really hard to ask for help, especially when you're super overwhelmed and tired, so make it as easy as possible to accept it. Say something like, hey, I'm at Trader Joe's, what can I grab you? Or I'm in the diaper aisle at Target, what size do you need more of? Communicate that it's a joy for you to be helping rather than a burden, and that will help your friend to feel a little bit less self-conscious about it. Okay, what are some practical things you can do to help your friend? One, the meal train. It's a classic for a reason. There were lots of days in those early weeks where the only meal that I ate was the one that someone brought us, as bad as that sounds. And there were also days where Grace wouldn't stop crying or we didn't sleep at all. And someone dropped off food from our favorite restaurant and it was honestly the highlight of the day. Our friends set us up a meal train when we brought Grace home from the hospital using something called mealtrain.com, which I thought was really helpful on the receiving end because it let us set up the days that we wanted to receive meals and see visitors. It let us list our food preferences, the restaurants we liked, things we were allergic to, and it also let us list out how to deliver it. Since we lived in an apartment building at the time, which was really helpful to not be texting back and forth with all of the people day in and day out. We did, I think, like 2 or 3 days a week over those first few weeks to kind of space it out. A lot of times people brought us more food than we could eat in that one day, so we had leftovers, and that was great. But I don't think you need every single day, just a few times a week. There's something about food. One, it is practical. Like, there was a lot of early days where the only meal that I ate was the one that someone brought us. But the other thing about food is it's like a tangible hug, and it just made me feel like we weren't alone in trying to figure this whole parenting thing out. And as an acts of service person, meals were just like the thing that kept me going. There are a couple different ways you can do food. You can go the old-fashioned route, and if you're a really good cook, you can make a home-cooked meal and bring that. We have a friend who's a chef who made us probably some of my favorite food that we got the entire time. But if you're not really into cooking or you don't have time, you don't have to. We had a lot of friends who did DoorDash or brought us food from Chipotle. It doesn't have to be fancy or expensive, but that little gesture goes a long way. Another way to help with food is to bring groceries. And this, after having a baby, is one of my go-tos for my new mama friends. And I always try to grab something easy for breakfast. I grab some fresh fruit. What else do I grab? I grab easy snacks, things you can eat with one hand. And that can kind of help to fill in the gaps when they don't have time to eat or when someone's not delivering. And it can just be another way to help support the new family. A really important note about dropping off food is to over-communicate that there's no expectation to meet the baby at the time that you drop off food. I think this was the thing that I struggled with the most, was I felt like there was this exchange of, like, in order to get the meal, we had to let them see the baby, and you just never know. Sometimes there are days that the baby's been crying for 4 hours, or I've been crying for 4 hours, and it's just not a good time to see someone. So I would say err on the side of dropping the food off. I know one friend did a really cool thing where she had a little magnet on her door, and it was a thumbs up if it was an okay time to ring the doorbell and come in for a visit, and a thumbs down if it was just not a good time and people just dropped food off on the door. There's plenty of time for visits later. Honestly, I think after the first month is a really good time to meet the baby. Up until then, everyone's just kind of in survival mode, and unless mom really needs company, I would say err on the side of dropping food off. Another way to offer practical help is to offer acts of service, and this can look like errands or chores or babysitting or even just taking pictures, and we'll go over all of those. So the first piece of practical help that can be really helpful is errands, because when you have a new baby, it's really hard to get out of the house. And yes, there's the amazingness of Amazon Prime and lots of things can be delivered, but sometimes you need something now. And again, like I've mentioned before, a great way to do this is if you're at Target or if you're at Walgreens, text your friend and just say, hey, I'm here, do you need anything? I'd be so happy to pick it up and drop it off. And that can just be a really great way to save the new parents a kind of stressful trip out of the house. Another thing you can do is chores, and I think this one kind of depends on how close you are to the friend and whether or not you're actually visiting, but if you are close enough and you're over for a visit, I know that now when I visit new families and I bring food and they do invite me in, I try as hard as I can to kind of look around the house and see if there's something I can do, and I try to do it tactfully. This one, you just might need to be careful, but if you're dropping off groceries and you notice that their sink is full of dishes, say, hey, I'd love to do your dishes really fast. Or don't say anything up at all and just start watching. You can also wipe their counters, you can take out their trash. I would offer all of these things and make sure that you communicate that you're really happy to do them, because it can be a little bit hard to see someone else cleaning your house. But I know that when people did it for me, I was just like, oh my gosh, thank you. Because things that you don't have when you have a newborn are clean counters and a wiped floor. Another thing that can be helpful, but really only if you're pretty close to the family and or you have kids of your own, is to offer to come watch or hold the baby while mom and dad take a nap, take a shower, take a walk, any of those basic things that you're used to being able to do but you can't in those first few weeks of having a newborn. If you're over for a visit, you can say, hey, when's the baby's next nap? I'd be more than happy to sit here on my phone. You guys can take a walk or you can lay down, whatever is helpful. But make sure to make that with a disclaimer so they don't feel bad turning you down, because I know a lot of first-time mamas have a really, really hard time letting someone else hold or watch their baby. It's not anything with you, it's just a really anxious time. And it took me a really long time to even feel comfortable with my own family holding Grace, just because I was so freaked out about the whole thing. So don't take it personally if they turn it down. Maybe wait until baby's older, but if mama seems comfortable, yeah, offer to hold that baby while she takes a shower or a walk. Another really easy option if you are over visiting the baby is to grab your phone or a camera and just say, hey, want me to snap a couple of photos of all 3 of you, or all 4 of you, or all 5 of you? I had a friend who every single time that she came to visit, she grabbed her phone and snapped at least 5 to 10 pictures of all of my husband and Grace and I, and those are probably the only photos from those first month of all 3 of us, because one of us was always holding the baby and one of us was trying to hold the phone. So yeah, offer to take a few photos and save some memories for them. The last suggestion I'm gonna have for supporting your new mama friend is just to offer encouragement, company, and an unjudgmental listening ear. These are all free and honestly probably some of the most valuable things that you can offer and the things that you crave the most as a new mom. So with encouragement, when you bring a new baby home, with the onslaught of hormones and anxiety, the mom guilt is real and it sets in really fast. So the more that you can both recognize that this is a really hard time and pick out a specific thing that you think they're doing really well and then tell them you're so proud of them for it, that can just make all the difference in the world in rewriting some of the narrative that they think they're doing a bad job. So you can say something like, hey, I see how well you're breastfeeding so-and-so, and that looks so hard, but you are incredibly selfless for doing that for that babe. They are so lucky to have you, and I'm so proud of you. That encouragement can really just be the bright spot in one of those dark days and keep them going. The next thing you can offer is just company. Being a new mom or dad is really pretty lonely. Everything about your life has changed and you're spending a lot of time alone with a tiny ball of need whose only form of communication is screaming. It's just kind of lonely. For this one, unless your immediate family are really close friends, it's probably gonna play in more after the first month. So if you do make the offer to come visit in that first month, I would offer it very loosely and be really, really flexible, because sometimes it's just not a good time. But after that first month, once everybody's kind of settled into a little bit of a routine, then that's when it starts to get a little bit monotonous and a little bit boring. So that's a good time to say, hey, can I meet you at the park? Can we go for a walk? Can I come bring you a coffee and just hear you out, hear whatever on your heart? When you do get a chance to keep your friend company, this is the time for you to listen. And every mom is going to be a little bit different in what she needs. Some moms just really need to vent about the baby's reflux and how bad they're sleeping and how annoying their husband is. And some moms are obsessed with their baby and just want to show you 1,000 photos and coo over every early smile, and they need someone to do that with them. And some moms want to talk about everything except the baby. They just want to feel like their old selves, or they want to hear about outside life, something not to do with diapers and feedings. So just kind of follow your friend's lead. A good way to do this is to kind of leave the conversation open, and if they start talking about the baby, go for it. If they start venting, go for it. When you're talking to them, also make sure to ask them questions and act like you're interested. I know when you don't have kids, sometimes it's either a little bit boring or you're just feeling a little bit awkward because you don't know, I know I don't get any of this stuff. Do you want to talk to me about it? And I had a lot of friends who didn't have kids, and I didn't know if I was boring them. And so the ones who showed a lot of interest in Grace and who asked questions just made me feel like I could start to make this transition of being this new mom person and having these new mom interests, and that I would still be relevant to them, and that was really helpful. The last thing I want to touch on is gifts and gifting for new parents, because it's probably the thing that I will do the most differently going forward. Going forward, when I have a friend who is having a new baby, I am going to gift one of two things. Either I'm going to gift some sort of service, something that's helpful, something that takes work off of her plate when she has the baby, or I'm going to give her something off of the registry that she sends me. Those are the two things I'm going to do. And I'm saying this not to shame anyone. I used to travel a lot for work, so I would get something for the baby while I was traveling, something that was sentimental and I thought was cute. Like I remember I got a tiny kimono in Japan for one of my friend's new babies and brought it home. And while yes, there was probably lots of oohs and ahs at the baby shower, and I'm sure she felt thought of, it wasn't very helpful, and it probably spent most of its life sitting in a box or a drawer somewhere, and never really got used. And going forward, knowing how hard those first few months can be, I specifically want to be helpful. So what are some examples of services that you can give? One of my favorites that I've seen several friends gift are housekeepers, or a housekeeping service. And you can do maybe like 1 or 2 sessions during that first month or two. And in those first weeks home from the hospital with a baby, your house looks like a war zone and you are way too tired to do anything but stare at it and feel overwhelmed. So having someone who comes and makes your bathroom sparkly and shiny and lovely can just, it can just make you feel fresh and new, and like it's gonna be okay. The world is all good. So a housekeeping service is a really great one. Another amazing gift that you could maybe pull together with some friends to give is a few nights of a night nanny. And a night nanny is essentially an angel sent from heaven who stays with your baby during the night so that you can sleep. And I swear, in those first few weeks, Paul and I probably would have traded every single baby gift we got for 2 hours of sleep. So a night nanny can be a really good gift. Another option is some sort of food delivery service, whether it's HelloFresh or Good Eggs or grocery delivery or meal delivery, something that again makes sure that they're getting actual sustenance that's not like goldfish crackers eaten in between nursing sessions. Something that makes them feel like they know where their next meal is coming from can be another really good gift. On this same note, DoorDash gift cards, Postmates gift cards, something that delivers and is fast and easy. When it comes to the registry, new mamas take so much time planning out things on the registry, the things they're gonna get for their baby, and in it is all of the dreams of the kind of mom they want to be and how they want to raise that child. So I want to both support and honor however it is that they want to raise that kiddo, and do that specifically by buying something off of that registry, something that they think will be helpful for them. If for some reason there is no registry, or all of the things on the registry are out of your budget, I would still try to stick to something practical, maybe something that you know will get use. Maybe that's an Amazon gift card, a Target gift card, or some diapers or some wipes, something that's really basic that's not gonna just sit on a shelf and look cute and gather dust. All right, friends, that's all I had for today. On behalf of new mamas everywhere, thank you so much for wanting to help. Your love and encouragement and support can make all the difference in this really overwhelming season. And know that if and when you choose to have a baby of your own, we all can't wait to do the same for you. So say bye. Bye, see you next time.